there is someone who has been on your mind more than usual lately. Maybe you thought about them before you even got out of bed this morning. Maybe their name was already in your thoughts while you were making coffee, getting dressed, driving to work, or trying to focus on everything else you needed to do. And maybe nothing dramatic is happening at this exact moment. But something inside you has not been able to relax. You keep wondering how they are, whether they are really okay, whether there is something they are not telling you. Maybe they are sick. Maybe they are waiting for test results. Maybe they are going through a relationship that worries you. Maybe they have been struggling emotionally. Maybe money has become difficult. Maybe they are making choices you do not understand. Maybe they live far away and you hate how little you can actually see of their life. Or maybe whenever you ask, "How are you doing?" they give you the same answer, "I am fine," and you want to believe them, but something in their voice makes you wonder. So you think about them again later, you check your phone, you notice how long it has been since they replied. You reread the last message they sent. You think about calling, then wonder whether you are calling too much. You tell yourself not to worry, and then your mind quietly asks, "But what if something is wrong?" This is one of the difficult things about loving someone deeply. Love makes another person matter to you in ways you cannot always control. Their pain affects you. Their silence affects you. Their uncertainty follows you into rooms they are not even in. When something is wrong with them, part of you feels as though something is wrong with you too. And if love alone could take their pain away, you would have done it already. If you could take the sickness from their body and put it into yours, maybe you would. If you could carry their heartbreak so they could sleep peacefully tonight, you would carry it. If you could stand between them and every disappointment waiting ahead, if you could make the right decision for them, choose the right doctor, remove the wrong person, fix the financial problem, quiet the anxiety, repair the relationship, or somehow make tomorrow safer, you would. That is how much you love them. But eventually, love brings us to a painful truth. There are things you cannot do for another person. You cannot live inside their body. You cannot know every thought in their mind. You cannot sit beside them every hour of every day. You cannot control every person they meet. You cannot prevent every painful circumstance. You cannot make every decision for them, and you cannot guarantee that the people you love will never suffer. That realization can be frightening, especially when you are someone who is used to helping. You are the one people call, the one who finds the solution, the one who remembers the appointment, the one who checks in, the one who notices when something feels different. So when you finally face something you cannot solve, your mind does not know what to do with that helplessness. It starts searching, thinking, what if I should call again? What if they need me and what if they are worse than they are telling me? What if something happens while I am not there? What if I could have prevented it? And suddenly, you are no longer responding to what is happening. You are responding to everything that might happen. Maybe you know that feeling. A text goes unanswered longer than usual. Nothing has actually happened. You have no new information, but your mind begins writing the story anyway. Maybe they are in trouble. Maybe something happened on the road. Maybe they are sick. Maybe they are angry with you. Maybe they are alone. Maybe this is the phone call you have always been afraid of receiving. Within minutes, your heart is reacting to a tragedy that has not happened, and sometimes you do this because worry feels like preparation. If you think through every possibility, maybe nothing will catch you by surprise. If you stay alert enough, maybe you can protect them. If you keep thinking about the problem, maybe eventually you will find the answer. But you are tired. Not because you stopped loving them, because you have been trying to carry more than love was ever meant to carry. There is an entire part of this person's life you do not see. There are conversations happening when you are not there. Decisions being made on ordinary afternoons. Moments of fear they may never mention. Questions they may not know how to put into words. Maybe they have cried and then washed their face before speaking to you. Maybe they have sat alone in their car trying to decide what to do next. Maybe they have stared at the ceiling at 2 in the morning, carrying something they did not want you to worry about. You know what they have told you. God knows what they have not been able to tell anyone. And maybe that is something your heart needs to remember today. You only receive pieces of their story. God sees the whole person. You may know the diagnosis. God knows the fear underneath it. You may know about the financial problem. God knows the shame they have not spoken. You may know they are struggling in their marriage. God knows every conversation that happened behind the closed door. You may know they seem distant. God knows what has been happening inside them. There are places you cannot reach, but your inability to reach them does not mean they are alone there. Psalm 139 speaks of a God from whose presence we cannot escape. There is no distance that removes someone from his sight. No room you cannot enter that he cannot enter. No night when you are asleep that God suddenly stops being present. And perhaps this is especially difficult for you at night, because daytime gives you things to do. There are errands, calls, work, meals, responsibilities, people around you. But then the house becomes quiet, and suddenly the person you are worried about becomes loud in your mind again. You imagine tomorrow. You imagine the appointment, the conversation, the result, the decision, the thing you hope never happens. Maybe you even feel guilty when you begin to relax, as though letting your body rest means you have stopped caring, as though if someone you love is hurting, you have no right to have a peaceful evening. But your suffering does not protect them, your exhaustion does not strengthen them, and staying awake, imagining every possible outcome, does not place you in control of their future. There is a difference between loving someone deeply and believing you must hold their whole life together. Maybe that line has become blurred for you. Their problem became the first thing you think about in the morning. Their future became something you feel responsible for securing. Their silence became something you feel responsible for interpreting. Their pain became something you feel guilty for not being able to remove. And without realizing it, you began carrying not only the person in your heart, but their entire life on your shoulders. That is too much weight for one human heart. And maybe today, God is not asking you to stop caring. Maybe He is asking you to change the way you carry what you care about. You can love someone without knowing everything. You can care without having every answer. You can help without controlling every outcome. You can pray without knowing exactly how the story will end. And you can admit, God, this person matters so much to me, but this is bigger than me. That is not giving up. That is telling the truth. Because there are things love can do. Love can listen. Love can sit beside a hospital bed. Love can drive someone to an appointment. Love can pray. But there are also things love cannot control. And when we refuse to accept that, something strange begins to happen. Our concern slowly becomes fear. Our care becomes constant vigilance. And our worry begins to feel almost like proof of how much we love them. But worry and love are not the same thing. And in the next part, we need to separate them. Because maybe you have been afraid that if you stop worrying, it means you stopped caring. It does not. Sometimes releasing worry is not loving someone less. Sometimes it is finally trusting that their life does not depend entirely on you. Worry can be difficult to recognize because it often sounds so much like love. It says, I am only thinking about this because I care. I am only checking again because I want to make sure they are safe. I am only imagining what could go wrong because I need to be prepared. And sometimes those things are true. Concern can lead us to notice what matters. It can remind us to call someone, to ask another question, to show up, to take something seriously. But there is a point where concern stops helping and worry takes over. Worry does not simply ask what is happening. It asks what could happen. Then it keeps asking again and again and again and again until one possibility becomes 10 and 10 possibilities begin to feel like facts. Maybe you have experienced this with your phone. Someone you love normally replies quickly, but today they do not. 20 minutes pass, then 40, then an hour. At first you think they are probably busy, but soon another thought, then another. What if they are in trouble? What if they need help? What if I should have called earlier? What if this is the moment I was afraid of? Nothing has changed outside of you. You still have no new information. But inside you, your body is already reacting, as though something terrible has happened. Your chest tightens. You cannot concentrate. You check the phone again. Your mind begins preparing for a crisis that may not exist. And this is one of the exhausting things about worry. It can make you suffer through an event before the event has ever happened. Sometimes the event never happens at all, but the fear was real. The lost sleep was real. The tension in your body was real. The hours you could not get back were real. Your mind called it preparation. Your body experienced it as danger. And perhaps you have lived this way for so long that you hardly notice it anymore. Someone you love is struggling, so you stay alert, always alert. You listen for changes in their voice. You watch their mood. Then, when you finally begin to feel calm, guilt arrives. How can I relax when they are going through this? Maybe that question has kept you from resting. If they are hurting, you feel guilty for laughing. If they are worried, you feel guilty for sleeping. If their future feels uncertain, you feel guilty enjoying your own day. Somewhere inside, you may have started believing that sharing their suffering proves your love, but your peace is not a betrayal of someone else's pain. You do not love them more because you are exhausted. You do not become more faithful by imagining every terrible possibility, and you are not abandoning someone simply because your nervous system is finally allowed to rest. Think about this carefully. If the person you love called you tomorrow and said, "I hardly slept last night because I spent hours imagining everything bad that could happen to you," would you feel more loved? But then you would probably say, "You do not have to do that. I am okay. Please get some rest." Worrying yourself sick is not helping me. Sometimes we can give other people permission to rest that we refuse to give ourselves. Why? Because worry creates an illusion. It makes us feel as though our attention is somehow holding things together. If I stop thinking about it, I might miss something. If I relax, I will be unprepared. If I am not constantly watching, love says, "What can I do?" What if everything goes wrong? Love can go to the doctor with someone. Worry tries to predict every possible diagnosis before the appointment. Love can offer advice. Worry believes that if the person does not take the advice, you must somehow find another way to control the outcome. Love is present. Worry lives tomorrow. And tomorrow is where fear becomes almost limitless, because once the mind begins asking what if, there is always another question available. What if the treatment does not work? What if they make the same mistake again? What if they are hiding something? What if I cannot help them? What if something happens to them? And eventually, what if I cannot survive what happens next? That last fear may be underneath many of the others. When another person becomes precious to you, their suffering matters. You cannot love deeply without accepting that someone else's life can affect your heart. But vulnerability does not mean God asks you to live in constant fear. Philippians 4 tells us to bring what makes us anxious to God in prayer. Notice what that means. Scripture does not tell you that anxiety proves you have no faith. It gives your anxiety somewhere to go. You do not have to hide your fear from God. You can say, "God, I am afraid of this. I do not know what is going to happen. I want to control this because I love them. I keep imagining the worst. This is taking over my mind." Prayer does not mean pretending you are no longer concerned. Prayer means refusing to make concern for your God. It means saying, "This matters deeply to me, but I recognize that I am not the one who controls every outcome." That is surrender. Not indifference, not passivity, not giving up. Surrender is accepting the limits of your own power without accepting the lie that everything is therefore hopeless. And there is a great difference between the two. Maybe you have confused worrying with praying. You pray about the person, then 5 minutes later, you take everything back. You imagine the conversation again. You predict the result again. You solve the problem again. You say, "God, I trust you." And then your mind says, "Yes." But what if that does not make you a bad Christian? It means surrender may need to happen more than once. Sometimes the same fear has to be handed over 10 times in one day, maybe 100. Not because God gave it back, because you picked it up again. This is why peace can feel unfamiliar when you have lived in worry for a long time. You almost do not trust it. Everything gets quiet, and your mind immediately begins looking for the next thing to fear. Am I forgetting something? Should I check on them? Why am I not more worried? As though peace itself must mean you are being irresponsible. But Jesus never taught that constant anxiety is the price of love. You are allowed to care and still breathe. You are allowed to love and still sleep. You are allowed to support someone and still have parts of your day that are not consumed by their problem. You are allowed to smile while someone you love is in a difficult season. You are allowed to receive good things without feeling guilty that someone else is struggling, because your suffering is not medicine for their suffering. Your fear does not heal them. Your panic does not protect them. And your exhaustion does not prove your devotion. There is a difference between carrying someone in your heart and carrying their entire life on your shoulders. The first is love. The second will eventually crush you. Maybe this is where you are today. You started with compassion. Then, compassion became responsibility. Their problem became your problem. Their decision became your decision. Their future became something you felt responsible for securing. Their mood began determining your mood. Their silence began determining your peace. And eventually, you stopped asking, "How can I love this person?" and began living as though the question were, "How can I make sure nothing bad ever happens to them?" You cannot, no one can. And because there is something peaceful about finally telling the truth. I do not know what tomorrow holds. I cannot guarantee this will turn out the way I want. I cannot control another person's choices. I cannot prevent every painful thing, and I am still allowed to trust God. Trust is not confidence that nothing difficult will ever happen. Trust is confidence that you do not have to become God in order to face what happens. There is a reason Jesus asked, "Which of you by worrying can add a single hour to your life?" Worry feels active, but so much of it accomplishes nothing. It moves constantly without actually going anywhere. It circles the same possibilities, the same fears, the same imagined outcomes. And at the end, you are often left exactly where you started, only more tired. So when you notice yourself spiraling, perhaps the question does not need to be, "How do I make myself stop caring?" Ask instead, "What do I actually know right now?" Not what you fear, not what could happen. What do you know? Maybe what you know is, they have an appointment tomorrow. They are struggling today. They have not answered yet. They ask for space. They need support. They are getting professional help. They made a choice you cannot change. Start there. Stay with what is real. Then ask, is there something loving and useful I can do right now? Maybe yes. Maybe there is a call to make, a meal to bring, an appointment to attend, a question to ask, a resource to find, a prayer to pray. But maybe the answer is no. Maybe you have already done what you can today. And if that is true, then continuing to worry is not another form of helping. It is simply another form of carrying. And God may be inviting you to put that weight down, not forever. Just for this moment, maybe for the next hour, maybe for tonight, you can say, "God, I have done what I know to do today." And it prepares us for the next question, because sometimes there really is something you should do for the person you love. Surrender is not an excuse to become passive. Faith does not mean ignoring a problem that needs action. So, in the next part, we are going to ask something very practical. What is actually yours to do? When should you step closer? When should you listen? When should you help? And when might love require you to stop rescuing, step back, and allow another person to carry what belongs to them? Because peace does not come from doing nothing. It comes from learning the difference between what love is asking you to carry and what fear keeps putting back on your shoulders. Once you realize that worry is not the same as love, another question appears. What should I actually do? Because giving someone to God does not mean doing nothing. It does not mean becoming distant. It does not mean watching someone struggle and saying, well, that is their problem now. Sometimes love requires action. Sometimes someone really does need you to step closer. Maybe they need a ride to the doctor. Maybe they need help making an appointment they have been avoiding. Maybe they need someone to sit beside them during a difficult conversation. Maybe they need a meal brought to their house because they have not had the energy to take care of themselves. Maybe they need financial help for something genuinely necessary. Maybe they need you to notice that I am fine is not really fine. Faith is not an excuse to ignore what is happening in front of you, but there is a difference between helping someone and becoming responsible for their entire outcome. And that difference matters. You can take someone to the doctor. You cannot guarantee what the doctor will say. You can help them find a counselor. You cannot make them open their heart. Once they get there, you can warn someone about a choice you believe will hurt them. You cannot force them to listen. You can offer support. You cannot live their life for them. That can be very difficult to accept, especially when the solution seems obvious to you. You look at the situation and think, why cannot they see this? Why do they keep going back? Why will not they accept help? I already told them what they need to do, and because you love them, frustration begins to mix with fear. You call again, explain again, rescue again, fix another problem, cover another consequence. And for a moment everything feels calmer, but then the same crisis returns. Maybe this has happened more than once. Someone you love makes a decision that creates a problem. You step in, you solve it. They feel better. You feel relieved. Then, weeks later, another problem appears. And once again, you become the person who has to hold everything together. Eventually, you may begin asking, if I stop helping? That is an important question, but there is another one you may need to ask too. What happens to them if I never allow them to carry anything for themselves? Sometimes stepping in is love. Sometimes stepping back is love. Wisdom is knowing the difference. There are situations where immediate action is necessary. If someone is in danger, if for themselves, but there are other situations where your desire to rescue is really your desire to stop feeling afraid. You are not only trying to solve their problem, you are trying to silence your own anxiety, and that is where helping can become complicated. Ask yourself, am I doing this because it truly helps them? Or am I doing this because I cannot tolerate watching them struggle? Those are not always the same thing. Sometimes someone needs a hand. Sometimes they need the dignity of taking their own next step. Sometimes they need advice. Sometimes they already know what you think. Sometimes they need you to speak. Sometimes they need you to listen. There is a question that can change many conversations. Do you want me to help you think through this? Or do you just need me to listen? That question gives the other person room, because sometimes when someone we love is hurting, we rush towards solutions before we have even understood the problem. They say, "I am exhausted," and we say, "Do not worry." They say, "I do not know what to do," and within 30 seconds, we have created a plan for their entire life. Maybe what they needed first was simply, "I am here. Tell me more." That sounds really hard. You do not have to explain everything right now. Listening can feel too small when you are desperate to help. But sometimes listening is the help. Sometimes the person you love has been surrounded by advice and still feels completely alone. They do not need another person telling them how to fix themselves. They need someone who can stay in the room without panicking, someone who does not immediately turn their pain into a project, someone who can say, "You do not have to make me feel better about what you are going through." That kind of presence is powerful, but there will also be moments when love needs boundaries. And boundaries can feel cruel when you are used to rescuing. Maybe someone repeatedly asks for money, but refuses every step toward changing the situation. Maybe they call only when another crisis has exploded. Maybe they expect you to clean up consequences. They continue choosing. Maybe helping them has begun damaging your health, your marriage, your finances, or your ability to function. You can love someone and still say no. You can care and still say, "I cannot keep doing this for you." You can say, "I cannot keep paying for this. I cannot keep being spoken to this way. I cannot make this decision for you." A boundary is not always a wall. Sometimes it is the line that allows love to survive, because when resentment begins growing underneath your help, something needs to change. If every act of support leaves you angry, depleted, frightened, or secretly hoping the person will finally become who you need them to become, it may be time to ask whether you are still helping or whether you have become trapped in the role of rescuer. Galatians 6 gives us an interesting balance. We are told to bear one another's burdens, but the same chapter also speaks about each person carrying their own load. There is room in Christian love for both, and responsibility. You can offer your hand without taking over their feet. And perhaps the most useful question is not, "How do I fix this?" Ask, "What is mine to do today?" Not next month, not every possible future. Today. Maybe today your part is to call. Maybe it is to say something you have been afraid to say. Maybe it is to apologize. Maybe it is to stop giving advice they never asked for. Maybe it is to stop rescuing. Maybe it is simply to pray. And once you have done what is actually yours to do, you are allowed to stop. But then you want to make sure they follow it. You take them to the appointment. But then you want to control what happens afterward. You help solve today's problem. Fear always tries to move the finish line. Sense is not abandonment. It is humility. You are one person. You have Your money has limits. Your ability to influence another human being has limits. God is not disappointed in you for having limits. You were created with them. You are not failing because you cannot be everything another person needs. Sometimes the most faithful thing you can do is recognize the edge of your responsibility and stop there. There is another question that may help. What have they actually asked me for? Not what you assume they need, not what your fear says they need. What have they asked for? Maybe they asked you to listen. Maybe they asked for space, and you called 5 more times. Maybe they asked for practical help, and you gave them a sermon. Maybe they asked for nothing, and your anxiety rushed in to fill the silence. Love pays attention to the person. Fear pays attention to the possibility. That is why love can be patient. It does not have to solve the entire. And remember, you are allowed to have a life while someone you love is struggling. You are allowed to go to dinner. You are allowed to laugh. You are allowed to sleep. You are allowed to enjoy a peaceful afternoon. You are allowed to answer your own responsibilities. You do not have to remain emotionally underwater just because someone you love is still in a difficult season. Your peace does not mean you stopped caring. It may mean you finally stopped believing that pain must be shared equally in order for love to be real. You can be steady when someone else is unstable. In fact, sometimes that steadiness is exactly what they need from you, not another frightened person, not another person reacting to every change. Someone grounded enough to say, "We will deal with what is real, one step at a time. You are not alone." And when there is nothing left for you to do in that moment, we are going to leave the rest with God. So before we pray, ask yourself 4 questions. What is actually mine to do today? What has this person truly asked of me? What am I doing because it genuinely helps them? And what am I doing mainly because it temporarily makes my own fear feel quieter? Be honest, there is no shame in the answer. Maybe you need to do more. Maybe you need to do less. Maybe you need to change the way you help. But whatever the answer is, let love not panic decide your next step. Do what love asks of you. Show up where you can. Listen. Speak when necessary. Help wisely. Keep healthy boundaries. And then, when you reach the edge of what belongs in your hands, stop trying to carry what comes next. Because there will always be something you cannot fix, something you cannot know, something you cannot guarantee. And when you arrive there, you are not left with nothing. You can pray. You can place the person you love before the God who knows every part of their story, including the parts you will never see. And that is what we are going to do now. Father, you already know who is on my heart right now. Before I say their name, you know it. Before I explain what is happening, you already see it. You know where they are. You know what they are facing. You know what they have told me. And you know what they have not been able to tell anyone. So I bring this person to you now, not as a problem I need you to solve for me, not as a situation I understand completely, but as someone I love, someone who matters deeply to me, someone I have spent too much time worrying about. Lord, if I could take their pain away, I would. If I could carry the illness for them, I would. If I could remove the heartbreak, the pressure, the fear, the confusion, I would. If I could stand between them and every difficult thing that might happen tomorrow, part of me would try. That is how much I love them, but I cannot. And maybe that is what I have been struggling to accept. There are places in their life I cannot enter. There are thoughts I cannot hear. There are decisions I cannot make for them. There are outcomes I cannot guarantee. And somewhere along the way, I began treating worry as though it could give me the control I wanted. I stayed awake thinking. I replayed conversations. I imagined what could happen. I checked my phone again. I searched for answers. I rehearsed what I would say if something went wrong. And Lord, I am tired. Worry has never made me powerful. It has only made me tired. So today, I bring that fear to you. I bring you every what if. What if they get worse? What if they make the wrong choice? What if I am not there when they need me? What if something happens that I cannot prevent? What if tomorrow brings news I do not want to hear? I cannot answer those questions tonight, and I do not need to. Give me grace to live inside what is true today, instead of suffering through every possibility tomorrow might contain. Father, go where I cannot go. Be present in the rooms I cannot enter. Be near them during conversations I will never hear. Meet them in the moments when they say, I am fine, but inside they are anything but fine. You see the fear they hide. You see the questions they do not know how to ask. You see the tears they wipe away before anyone notices. You see the thoughts that come when the room becomes quiet. Meet them there if they are afraid. Give them courage for the next step. If they are confused, give them wisdom. If they feel alone, bring trustworthy people near them. If they are exhausted, give them permission to rest. If they are carrying shame, remind them that they do not have to hide forever. If they need help, give them the courage to ask for it. And if there is something I can do, show me clearly. If they are sick, Lord, be near them through every appointment, every test, every treatment, and every uncertain conversation. Give wisdom to the doctors, nurses, counselors, and professionals caring for them. Help the right information become clear. Help good decisions be made. Give this person strength for whatever the next step requires. I ask for healing. I ask for relief. I ask for restoration. But above all, I place them in your care, even when I do not know what the outcome will be. If their struggle is emotional, help them stop believing they have to carry it silently. Give them someone safe to speak to. Help them receive support without shame. If they are moving towards something destructive, put truth in their path. Give them the courage to turn around when turning around is necessary. And Lord, if they are simply going through a season I cannot fix, help me stop treating their pain like evidence that I have failed them. Sometimes I can help. Sometimes I can only stay close. Sometimes I can only listen. Sometimes all I can do is pray. Teach me to know the difference. Show me what belongs in my hands today. If I need to call them, give me the courage to call. If I need to visit, help me make the time. If I need to apologize, take away my pride. If they only need me to listen, keep me from filling the silence with answers. And if I have already done what I can, help me stop. Help me stop searching for one more thing to fix, one more message to send, one more possible problem to solve, one more way to make myself responsible for what happens next. I want my help to come from love, not from panic. I want my presence to bring steadiness, not more fear. I want the person I love to know that they can come to me without also having to manage my anxiety. Father, forgive me for the times I have confused worry with responsibility. Forgive me for believing that if I thought about the problem long enough, I could somehow prevent pain. Forgive me for trying to carry tomorrow before tomorrow arrived. You never asked me to control everything. You never asked me to become another person's savior. You asked me to love, to pray, to act with wisdom, to be faithful with what is actually mine to do, and then to trust you with what is not. So I release the things I cannot control. I release the test result I do not know yet. I release the phone call that has not come. I release the decision they have not made. I release the conversation I keep rehearsing. I release the future I keep trying to predict. I release the version of tomorrow that exists only inside my fear. Give me enough grace for today, not next month, not every possible outcome. Today, Lord, I also release the guilt I feel when I experience peace. Help me understand that resting does not mean I care less. Sleeping does not mean I have abandoned them. Laughing does not mean I have forgotten their pain. Having one good day does not betray someone who is having a difficult one. My suffering is not medicine for their suffering. So when there is nothing more for me to do tonight, teach me to rest. When my mind says, check again, help me ask whether checking will actually help. When my mind says, I will respond if I am needed, and you are present even when I am not. That is enough for this moment, Father. There is something deeply humbling about admitting that someone I love has an entire life I cannot control, but perhaps there is freedom in that truth too. Their whole life was never mine to hold. I can hold their hand. I can hold space for their pain. I can hold them in prayer, but I cannot hold their entire future, so I place their future with you. I place their body with you, their mind, their decisions, their relationships, their fears, their needs, the parts I understand and the parts I do not. I place all of it before you, not because I care less, because I am learning to trust you more. And Lord, take care of my heart too, the heart that loves them, the heart that gets afraid. Teach me to remain soft without becoming consumed. Teach me to remain present without becoming controlling. Teach me to help without rescuing everything. Teach me to pray without demanding that I know exactly how the story ends. If tomorrow requires action, give me courage tomorrow. If tomorrow requires patience, give me patience tomorrow. If tomorrow brings difficult news, meet me there tomorrow. I do not need tomorrow's strength today. Today I only need enough faith to say, this person is deeply loved by me, but they are not mine to control. I will love them. I will help where I can. I will listen when they need me. I will speak when wisdom asks me to speak. I will pray when I cannot reach them. But I will no longer believe that worrying all night is what keeps them safe. You see what I cannot see. Give them what they need for the road ahead. Give me to walk beside them. And give me peace. And for today, that is enough. In Jesus' name, amen. You do not have to stop caring. In order to stop carrying everything, do what is yours to do. Love them well, help wisely, pray faithfully. And when you reach the limits of what you can control, remind yourself, I can love this person deeply without holding their entire future in my hands. Subscribe to God Meets You here for more prayers and Christian encouragement for the things that are hardest to carry alone.